presentation, and it, for whatever reason, the file got corrupted, and my backup ran instantly right after that, and it corrupted the backup file I had. So everything was lost, and I restarted this at, well, my time, 5 o'clock, which was 2 hours ago. So hopefully it'll all come together and go all right, so you'll get some information from us. I'm not a salesperson, not really much of a sales guy at all, but I will do my best to present to you and talk a little bit about what we have. I'll move right through this presentation quite quickly. We're going to be at quite a high level. You know, I just want to introduce Nicaragua and Milagro del Mar, our resort, and talk to you a bit about everything. And oh, before I forget, Tammy, I hope you hit the record button. So if people want to review this again later, there'll be a link where you can come back and see it again.
Yep, it's recording.
Okay, thanks. And if there's if you have any questions, there should be either a chat window or a little hand that you can see to kind of raise your hand and ask questions. We'll probably leave the questions either for the end or somewhere throughout the presentation where it makes most sense. And so I'll go through the presentation. I have to kind of pick a middle ground. Some of you have been to Nicaragua before, some haven't, and I'll do my best to not bore those of you that have and not leave out too much for those of you that haven't. Myself and Roger will be doing the presentation today. I'm on the right, one of the owners, together with Roger as well. Roger's our CEO. He lives on site there at the resort. That's why he looks so much more relaxed and has a nice sunset in the background than and I look a little stiff. But we will together try to give you a little idea of our location. We kind of broke the agenda into a couple different things. First of all, why Nicaragua? Why should you have any interest in Nicaragua at all? Then learn a little bit about the Milagro del Mar Beach and Golf Resort. And then some of the options that you have to vacation, retire, even invest and earn rental income with us. I forgot to mention that I'll probably go a little bit slower through the slides. I'm on a backup computer here as well. We've had all sorts of technical issues today, but the slideshow and my voice sometimes gets broken up if I try to do too much at once. Bear it with me, and hopefully my voice doesn't crack up, both because my voice is going and because of the technology. Nicaragua is, you know, virtually unknown and often understood. Almost everybody I've talked to, when I mention, yeah, we've got a nice little place down in Nicaragua, oh, is that where the Contras were and all that issue? And I'd like to point out right up front that was decades ago, and it's been a democratically elected government for a long time. There's a lot. It's a great place now, and you know, just have to get that kind of out of the way in the beginning. And as International Living is quoted here on this page, it's misunderstood, but that's also part of why those people that get ahead of the curve a little bit can get the best real estate deals on Earth. The next question I get often is, where in the world is Nicaragua? A lot of people for some reason think it's in Africa. It is not. It is in Central America. It's nestled nicely between Mexico and South America. It's not as far as you think that it might be to go to. I kind of liken it like going to Cancun. It's really on this, you know, on this slide here, Cancun right along there. Nicaragua is really a, you know, probably, I don't know, 20-minute further by plane, so it's not a big deal. It's nice that it's in a central time zone. It's not it's not like going to Hawaii or Europe where you've got, you know, to deal with jet lag and that sort of thing. We're actually on the west side of Nicaragua. Hopefully you can see my mouse pointer there. We're right along here. Just north of Costa Rica. Costa Rica has obviously done a much better job over the past couple or 20 years of promoting itself. Everybody kind of knows where Costa Rica is, but not so much with Nicaragua. And the other nice thing about being on the west side is that we don't suffer the hurricanes that the Caribbean side gets. And the occasional windstorms and that sort of thing, but they're not the same. I won't bore you with reading all the news releases and that sort of thing on Nicaragua. Suffice it to say, the mainstream media has kind of found us, or found the country, and it's quickly becoming the new Costa Rica. Fortunately, without the crime, and it's the much friendlier people. But as you can read these now or later, as we go through a few of the quotes from media outlets like New York Times or even Montreal Gazette, you see, comments like the bottom there: prices have yet to catch up with neighboring Costa Rica, but they have the empty beaches and the exotic wildlife, all a lot of the same activities that you can do in Costa Rica. It's also been a real focus on places to retire, and put simply, it's the best bang for the buck in terms of a place to retire. It's the most affordable. You get the most things to do. The great culture, and certainly the property prices are up a quarter, maybe a fifth of the prices in competing countries like Costa Rica. Safety is always an issue. It's always one of the biggest questions that comes up, along with what about the Contras? So it's one of the things that we, as a resort, and also the country, has to do to promote itself, is to take that off the list of concerns. Nicaragua is actually the safest place in the Americas, together with Uruguay and Canada. It's certainly much safer than traveling in, well, even the U.S., but certainly Mexico or and most of the typical hotspots. So that is kind of a fallacy that Nicaragua is unsafe. In fact, like I said, it ranks right at the top of the safest countries. I'd like to sort of call Nicaragua in the sweet spot in terms of vacationing and investing. It has all the amenities, but it's uncrowded, and certainly much less expensive than a lot of places to travel to. But it is changing quickly. It's being discovered, and prices, especially prices of real estate, are increasing. So we're just, like I said, I feel like it's kind of in the sweet spot. When I first went there in 2006, it was a bit early, I felt, but got involved. Of course, then the recession hit and things stalled for a bit. But over the last couple of years, we've really seen it being cranking back up again, and it's growing quickly in terms of tourism. And along that line, Nicaragua has the fastest growing tourism for the past few years in the Americas. I actually just met with a resort owner who has a place in Belize, and he was telling me about how he felt it was amazing, the growth of Nicaragua, where Belize was plateauing or even going down like Costa Rica. Nicaragua was just gaining by leaps and bounds. And of course, it's all relative. There's twice as many tourists that go to Costa Rica as Nicaragua, but this last couple of years, they've passed over 1 million people visiting the country, and we're by double-digit percentages every year. And what that ends up creating is there's just not enough accommodations to manage the tourism growth. There's a prediction of a shortfall of up to 5,000 hotel rooms predicted by this coming year. So that's bringing a lot of interest from major international hospitality companies, and frankly, the country needs more places to stay. We need more rental homes, and that's no different with Milagro del Mar, our resort. We are eager to have more people buy into the condominiums and build homes, and hopefully go, unless they're living there full time year round, and put them in the rental pool so we have more accommodations to offer as well. But like I said, the international hospitality companies are very keen and are moving in quickly, and larger hotel companies are coming along every day. And we've been lucky enough to have the Wyndham hotel group, which is the actual world's largest hotel company. Most people don't realize that. They think of other companies like Hilton or something like that, but Wyndham is the banner company for the Wyndham Grand, obviously, Dreams Hotels, and other ones that you're more familiar with, like probably Ramada, Planet Hollywood, Travelodge, those sorts of hotel chains, and creates over 7,200 hotels around the world in 66 different countries. So we're very excited to have signed an agreement with Wyndham this past year and have them partner with us on our Wyndham Milagro Ocean Village. And this is what the Wyndham Grand Milagro del Mar Resort is going to look like. We're very proud of this, and it's going to be a beautiful place with the cascading pools right on the beach. It's a 5-star place with very high-end accommodations. So what exactly is Milagro del Mar, and how does it fit into the picture here? Well, we are a fully functioning resort, and we're obviously growing. There's new things coming down the pipe for us in terms of things like the Wyndham being built as we speak. We do have the Las Perlas oceanfront condominiums. They're beautifully finished places where you can stay today, and I think a number of you on this call have actually stayed with us before, and I think you'd back me up there that they're very nice. They're all oceanfront. You have beautiful views right by the beach. We have the golf course, 9 holes playable, and we put a lot of work into that in this last year. There's also additional 18 holes being designed, 9 of which have been landscaped already to some degree, and that's going to be coming in the future years as well. The stables, we have horse riding available. I may have to be corrected here, but I believe we have about a dozen horses in the stables available for riding. Surfing is a huge thing in Nicaragua. I personally am not much of a surfer, and that's putting it mildly, but we do have 2 world-class surf breaks, and one has been ranked in the top 3 in Central America, and that's right out our front door. So we do get a lot of surfers coming down to visit us. Fishing is great. I just listed a couple fish, or a few fish there that I've seen caught and have caught. There's a myriad of different types of deep sea fishing that can be done, and it's very inexpensive. Bird watching is popular, just trying to throw in a kind of a full gamut of the type of things that are available for us or for people that come to visit us. The Tasca restaurant is a beautiful restaurant, and I have some pictures of that coming up in a little bit here too. La Vida Nica is our on-site concierge and property management, and they'll help you with your stay and renting a place. Also, when you own a place, they'll also be in charge of that. And there's obviously much more to do on the resort, but there's also easy access to short trips to the volcanoes, to Granada, Leon, the beautiful colonial cities with the oldest cathedrals in the Americas. The oldest and the second oldest cathedrals are in the 2 cities. There's lots of adventure activities, zip lining, coffee plantation, cigar plantation tours, you name it. So there's a lots of things to do. Roger or Tammy, with somebody with a microphone, can you let me know whether everybody can still hear me properly?
Everything's good on my end, Pat.
Okay, we'll keep going.
Everything is good on my end as well. I can hear you perfect.
A little bit of a picture of the master plan of our resort, and point out just a couple things that kind of give you a bird's eye view. At the top here is, hopefully you can see the pointer on my mouse here, but the top here is the entrance gate, and we have several hundred acres of resort, the ocean being obviously here at the bottom. This right here is the Wyndham. We'll hear very soon about it, but the San Diego Viejo community is this area here, and Milagro Verde, which is our eco-friendly community, is here. Right over here is the Las Perlas condos. This is where you'd be staying when you come down today. In the future here, we have other areas to build out. Obviously, the first 9 holes of the golf course is this grouping over here. And Ibaka, our baseball academy, is a future being built over here. There's a lot I could speak about to do with that, but suffice it to say that we're heavily involved with a baseball academy coming up, and obviously with some charity work as well. We currently support 13 schools. A few of you people on the call today actually came down and helped us rebuild one of the schools last year, which was a great volunteer project. And this year, our main project is to build a new clinic, both a dental and medical clinic, to help support the local people in the community who just simply don't have access to medical care at this point without it. And that clinic will also go in this area here by the baseball academy. Sorry. Our golf course. This green in the middle is number 3. Our signature hole, I'd like to say, is what I consider kind of our Pebble Beach hole. Is number 4 here, where the green is right up against the beach. Our number 5 tee is over here. I think you can see it's a beautiful course. It's pretty hard to beat the views from the course. And as you go down the number 5 hole to the left, you come across the estuary, and there's beautiful rock formations and all sorts of different kind of vegetation. It's a really beautiful course. Surfing, like I said, is something I'm still waiting to learn how to do properly, but we do get a lot of surfers down. This is a shot taken of surfing right in front of our property. Horseback riding. This is actually, that's a picture, isn't it, Roger? Riding the horse down the beach, and it's a lot of fun. It's a nice place to discover the area. You can ride along the beach. You can also ride up through the forested areas, and it's just a really nice thing to do. Just fishing, like I mentioned earlier. There's lots of different types of fish you can catch. It's very inexpensive. I went deep sea fishing in Mexico a couple of years ago. And the couple-hour tour was $800, and in Nicaragua, I think the last time I went fishing, it cost me $30. So it was a little bit different. And obviously, you can dine. This is our Latasca fine and casual dining that we have available today. When the Wyndham is completed, we'll have more fine dining. Obviously, there'll be some beautiful restaurant space in there. And in our Milagro Verde eco community, there will be a clubhouse coming soon as well. So there'll be multiple places where you can dine. The one you see in the picture here, Tasca, is unfortunately can't see it right behind this picture, is an infinity pool which looks out into the ocean and beautiful sunsets, and it's a really nice open air restaurant that's a beautiful place to have dinner. And you can live there. This is one of the houses. We have one of over 40 to 50 homes already complete and lived in and or rented. We have 6 more under construction right now and 7 more in the design phase, and going to be starting construction very soon. So there's sort of 2 parts to our presentation. One, we'd love you to come and visit Milagro and join us and visit us and have a lot of fun. Obviously, a big part of what we're into is also trying to convince you to invest and become community members with us. And on the investment side, we really have 2 options. So we have the condominiums. The Wyndham condominiums is a hotel condo. So, and I guess I didn't mention that earlier. It's that hotel condo concept where you can purchase the hotel, you own it, or the suite, you own it. You can come down anytime you want, but when you're not there, you put it into the rental pool, and we manage that for you. and they're very high-end suites, kind of place where you will step out of the pool and someone will wrap you with a towel and that sort of thing. So this is a very luxury building. Our other option there is to also build luxury custom-built homes, and of which an option is eco-friendly homes as well. And those start under $200,000 for the home site and a finished home. I'm sorry, I got somebody knocking on my door. On bad timing, but I'll just leave them alone. So I just wanted to kind of personalize this a little bit, why I invested. Obviously, there's lots of, there's lots of obvious reasons: the incredible climate, the beautiful beaches, safe, inexpensive. What it boils down to is a missed opportunity for me earlier on in life. I went to Mexico and went to the Puerto Vallarta area, and if anybody's in the Marina District, and just on a vacation, but I came across a nice little home with a couple bedrooms and a nice little pool in the backyard, and it was up against the golf course with the ocean in front, and actually reminds me a lot of the way Milagro is set up now. And this was in the early 90s, I'd say about 90, 91, and they wanted a $140 home. And well, A, I didn't have $143,000 at the time, and B, I probably wouldn't have invested in it in what I considered a third world country. So it was nice to look at, but I didn't do it. Then about less than a year later, I was back, and that house was on the market again, and it was over $400,000 that they wanted, and within a few months later, it was over $600,000, and within a couple of years, the place sold for over $1 million. And I just told myself, if I ever see that kind of thing happening again, I'm going to get involved this time, because I kind of blew it that time. So that was in the back of my head when I went to Nicaragua with my family 6-7 years ago, and when I saw the opportunities there, I just wanted to get involved again. So this time I decided I am going to get involved. And one of the things that made it a lot easier than Mexico is foreigners can own the land with the same rights as the locals. In Mexico, with that kind of property, you had to set up a bank trust and all those things. So the property that I own is, you can buy a property, it'll be under your name. You can sell it, you can rent it, you can do whatever you want with it. There's no restrictions whatsoever. And one of the other reasons I list here is obviously how inexpensive things are. So just for sake of giving you a bit of an idea, I just put a list of the cost of things. It's very inexpensive to live, basically like royalty in Nicaragua. International living, is often quoted as saying it'll be somewhere in $800 to $1,000. You can live really well, $800 to $1,000 per month. That's pretty inexpensive over time. So, and that to me includes things like, at the bottom of this list, you can hire a maid or cook, clean, or do laundry, and you don't have to feel bad about that, because it's inexpensive, but it provides a job, it provides employment, and it's an important part of what we're really part of doing in Nicaragua. We added it up a couple months ago, and we had to do a report to the government, and we had over 180 people relying on the resort for their employment. And we're proud of the fact that we can provide that kind of employment to people. One thing I laugh at here is I put the price of the haircut at $2.50. It's actually $2, but I put 50 cents in for the tip. But it's a bit high, a 25% tip, but nonetheless, I thought it wasn't going to break the bank. So. The government's also putting in a lot of incentives for retirees. I'm not going to run through all the incentives, but the government's definitely trying to attract retirees. You can import your vehicles and household goods without duties. You pay no taxes on out-of-country earnings, and there's a whole list of things that the government or has already put into law for incentives for retirees. You see here that all they require is $600 a month in either a pension or $750 a month if you can show that in some kind of earning. So it they have that you have to be 45 years old or older, but that is also a flexible age limit from a retiree. You can prove that this level of earnings. So just to go into a little bit of detail, and soon I'm going to turn it over to Roger for a minute, just so you can stop listening to me for a while. But I just wanted to point out again where the Wyndham Ocean Villages are kind of flagship property on the resort, right against the ocean there in the middle. Again, just of what it's going to look like when it's complete. Here's an image of what the main building in the center will look like from the ocean side. If you were part of the way down to the beach through the cascading pools and look back, the view will be. Rob, I'm going to ask you to maybe step in here if it's all right for the next few slides. And I'm going to put you on the spot because I don't even know if you've seen these slides yet. But if you can talk a little bit about the phases, and over the next few slides, we have some pictures of the different suites, sorts of things. So I'll do the slideshow, and you can do the talking for a little bit.
You're absolutely right, because what's going to happen is when I say go to the next slide, I'm going to have to take about a 10-second pause to read it and go through it. But hey, everybody. My name is Roger Keeling, as Patrick said, and Patrick, thanks for taking us through it up to this point. Many of you on the call tonight, I already know. I've kind of been down through the list, and I see some people on there who are very near and dear to me. We started this project quite a few years ago. Well, in life terms, it wasn't that long ago, but it seems like it's been a lot longer than that because, as Patrick mentioned, this was a vision. It was something that we had a passion for, and we wanted to come into this country and try to do something special, not only for ourselves and our families and our friends and people like you on the call, but also for the country itself. So it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride at times, and I look through the list here and I'm looking at people like Pat and Kim. You all know. I mean, you've been around for a few years and you've been fighting this battle with us, but we're finally at a point in time where we're on the cusp of making what we wanted this place to be come to reality, and I'm glad that Patrick and Joanne and Tammy got to get up to Fort McMurray and meet a lot of the other folks on this call, and I'm looking forward to meeting a bunch of you if we can get you down here in the next few months to come and see what we're doing. So that's just my way of saying welcome to everybody. I hope to meet all of you real soon, and I hope you come down and see what kind of a special place we have here and understand a little bit more of why we love it so much and why we work so hard to make it successful. But as Pat was saying, one of the best things that's happened to us in the last year is the affiliation with the Wyndham Hotel Group, and Pat said they're the largest hotel company in the world, and that brings an incredible amount of strength and credibility to what we're doing here. And when a company like Wyndham comes in and says, yeah, you've got a beautiful piece of property here, you've got the beginnings of a great golf course, you've got a community already growing on the ocean, those are all the things that make us feel even better about the direction we're headed in. And the Wyndham Milagro del Mar Resort itself is one of the investment opportunities we have here, and I say investment as the first word because it's really a multi-tiered opportunity from the standpoint of investing now to own a piece of property at the early stages, to have that piece of property be revenue generating so that you can put it back into a rental pool and have a company like Wyndham behind that piece of property to rent it to hopefully derive nice income from, but still to be able to use it when you want to. But then in the long term, it's an investment because it creates an opportunity for you to own something that eventually you can use yourself, or potentially even sell for a profit at a later date. So we're excited about what the Wyndham condo hotel or Wyndham Milagro del Mar Resort offers to anybody who's interested in coming down here, even to visit, to invest, or even to eventually retire and spend a majority of the time. So right now in phase one, we have the first 42 condominiums under construction. We've just kind of capped off the third floor of construction, and our goal right now is to open those 42 condominiums next year in 2014 as the first phase of the hotel. And then early in 2014, we will be moving into the construction of 42, and we're using 42 as the number right now, but we think that number is going to grow a little bit, maybe even to around 50 individual private villas that will be on the same piece of property and be managed by Wyndham as well. And then somewhere about the middle of next year, we'll get into the construction of the hotel building. That's the place where those units won't be for sale, but they will be actual hotel rooms like many of us are used to when we travel or go to a resort, the standard hotel suites. And we plan to have those open by the end of 2015, which means the entire resort itself will be open and operating in just over 2 years from now. But don't forget that those first 42 condominiums will be available by the end of next year. It's a beautiful 8 acres oceanfront, and with a lot of amenities inside that small little parcel of land. You got to remember this Wyndham 8 acres is part of over 2,000 acres of property that are tied into this whole resort concept. But we often call the Wyndham Milagro del Mar piece a resort within a resort, because you can come, stay there, enjoy the pools, enjoy the restaurants. We'll have a small convention center there. There's a small commercial space there. I mean, you can come to that piece of property and never leave that, or you can venture quickly outside of that to enjoy the golf course and the stables and the surfing and all the other amenities associated with the property. And it's hard to describe with pictures. It's hard to describe just by talking to you on this webinar, so I can't encourage everybody enough on this call to just carve out the time, come down, spend it with us. Do it soon, because things are headed in a really good direction for us, and we're very happy about that. But we would love to get all of you down here and let you experience why we think this place is so special. Pat's showing a picture right now of the construction. You can see by that picture right now that was on the second floor slab. It's been a month or two ago, but that picture was taken, and you can see, just how close these condos are to the ocean. You're less than an American football field away from the ocean, and by the time you get up into the third, fourth, fifth floor of this condominium building, just the views are absolutely spectacular.
I like that you said an American football field, because ours is 10 yards longer.
You noticed I picked up on that. And I'm sure they can tell by the accent that I'm not a Canadian, but I'm more Nicaraguan now than I am American. So okay, I guess we're all Americans, but I'm from the United States. Let's put it that way. And
all right, well, I'm just going to point out here that. Sorry, go ahead, Roger.
No, go ahead. You jump in there.
I was just going to point out the different models and not to belabor any of the detail, but just point out the size of them here too, that people get a feel for how large these units really are, and that there's not very many left, to be honest, in the phase.
Yeah, and I made that point a moment ago. Plan to come down and see us soon, because things really are. They're got a lot of good stuff going on here. Wyndham coming along. We're paving our entry road now. Everything I keep saying this, but I mean, everything that we dreamed for this property and for this project a few years ago, after the roller coaster ride has been over now, is really starting to come together. And just want you to come see it.
Thanks, Roger. I'm just in the background here showing a few pictures of what the units will look like when they're completed. And as you can see, they're beautiful with their decks and right out over the pools and the ocean. Here's a part of the grounds of the Ocean Village. This slide isn't meant to show any great detail on what's available at what price. Certainly we have a property package we'd love to share with you and get your opinions on. The main point of this is that there's not much left. As you can see along the side, there's a lot of red, which is sold, and there's a number of fractional ones available. But in terms of full ownership condominiums, there is only 7 at this point left. So that completes a little piece of the presentation on the hotel and condos. The other offering that we have is the actual home sites where you can build homes, and that we have it's one concept, a home site. Work with us to design a home, and we build you a custom home. And there's 2 communities. They're really side by side and the same part of the same resort, but they have 2 different names with 2 different functions. First one is our original community called the San Diego Viejo, and as you can see, it's circled there. It's with this being the Wyndham, it basically surrounds the Wyndham area right near the beach. Well, a few of the homes you can see in this aerial shot. These are existing condo building that's there when you come down and stay with us now. That's completed and that's sold out. The restaurant is in here, and this home is called Cinco Amigos, I believe that's which one it is. And there's like I said, there's over 40 homes already completed and lived in. This gives a picture of the San Diego Viejo master plan. It just sort of shows you how close it is to the water. All the properties are within a very short distance of walking, within minutes at the worst of walking to the beach. And then a sub-community also within that area called Milagro Verde, which is Verde being the word for green in Spanish, and Milagro. Never did say what Milagro del Mar means. It's a miracle of the ocean and a miracle of the sea. This is the green miracle within Milagro del Mar, which is the Milagro Verde community. And that picture is one of the new homes being constructed in Milagro Verde. These homes are, you have power to them if you want it, but the ones that are currently there are completely off the grid and self-sufficient. They have no power, solar system. They use very little water because they have a water reuse system where the water from your sink in your bathroom is used to fill the toilet tank and that sort of thing. So the reuse system. And well, in fact, now I'm talking about water and power and that sort of thing. I also didn't mention it earlier, but I'll mention it now. The entire resort infrastructure has had millions and millions of dollars put into of coming to a community like it's. We've got high-speed internet, over 30 cable channels in English and Spanish. I mean, mostly in English, and all the channels that you're interested in watching from back home are available. All the underground is just all the power, including the internet and everything, is all underground. So there's no poles sticking around to the ground anywhere, other than street lights. We have a full water treatment plant. The water is potable. Most people still tend to drink bottled water, but I don't. But we have our own cell tower in the area, so it's within the resort. So you've got cell service. It's a gated community. with what I like to call necessary guards at the front. It's very safe, but the community is gated, and there are 24-hour guards. And so there's an awful lot put into you can go and find a piece of property in Nicaragua anywhere, but there's not places where you can find this kind of infrastructure put in, and that's an important thing that I guess I should have mentioned a little earlier. But the Milagro Verde Eco Community, this is the plan for it within the area of the San Diego Viejo lots. There's a central common area with a clubhouse, saltwater pool, solar ovens, which are literally solar ovens, sun-powered ovens that keeps the heat out of your home. So if you want, it's kind of like barbecuing. If you want to go out there and cook something, you can do that. Only in climates like Nicaragua can you make turkey dinner outside in a solar oven. But there's also gardening areas and all sorts of different things for the eco community. For both San Diego Viejo and Milagro Verde areas, the building home sites, there's about $48,000. You can pretty much count on the building costs being somewhere in the $95 to $120 a square foot, depending on the level of finishing. But the bottom line is you can buy a home site and build a brand new luxury home for under $200,000. And when you look at the cost of that, even if it's financed versus what you can rent for, it's pretty amazing investment. So why invest? Well, you can vacation, first of all, which is a good reason, and in your own place. And you can have your investment increase. As Roger put it very conservatively earlier, you can invest in a condominium or a home, and I find it hard to believe it won't increase in value given the of Nicaragua and the boom in tourism and everything just continually going up. The cost of materials is going up for building. So in general, everything's just there is as bad as that is for maybe 5 or 10 years from now, when you want to vacation, it'll be more expensive. It does mean that the property values are going to continue to rise too. And the beauty of it in the near term is if you get involved now, you earn great rental revenue along the way. I don't want to bore you with too many details, so I'm going to walk through this very quickly. And you're certainly more than we're more than happy to answer any questions on anything in the presentation or any other questions you may have in terms of rental revenue numbers or anything at all. But I'll just throw this out here for an idea. If you take one of the condominiums, which lists at $349,000, and you go through what's expected in gross monthly rental income, I think that, well, 65% is sort of what I put as an average number. The Wyndham wants to see 75% plus, so I think somewhere in that 65% is realistic in terms of occupancy rates. And I put $275 a night rate, which is also lower than what they want to charge. Then you look at the condo fees, the property tax, the management fees, and there's a marketing expense for putting it out on the internet and those sorts of things. And then there's a owner's reserve for capital on FFE, which is furnishings, fixtures, and equipment. I think Roger, you might have to correct me if I said that, but and then others.
That is correct.
Utilities and things like your power bill and insurance. And you see the total monthly expenses estimate at just over $3,000. But if you take that off of the gross monthly rental at the top, you'll see a monthly cash flow of roughly $2,500, which is on a cash-on-cash return of 8.4%. That is, well, we'll show on the next slide, is nice because it's more than pays for it. It's been virtually fully financed. I didn't want to get into all the details on every possibility here and bore everybody to tears, but put a little caveat at the bottom that rental house scenarios will have similar percentage. If it's less expensive to buy into in the beginning, also have less dollar return. Again, what do you get? You get a vacation home and you get an income earner, a place that pays for itself while it grows in value. And I think it stands to logic that if you buy now and they're the first kind of tick in increase in value, especially on the condominiums, is as soon as they're completed. There's always the group of people out there who go, I'll buy it when it's done. I think you can see from our construction and everything that's going on that it will be done, and it will, it's a better time, frankly, from a perspective to buy now than when it's completed, because the prices will be higher when it's done. As the new phases come along, those prices will be higher, which will drag up the phase 1 prices as well. And Nicaragua in general is going to catch up with Costa Rica eventually, not for 10 years, 20 years, who knows, but as it grows, it doesn't have to catch up much before your investment comes up in value an awful lot. So just again, I didn't want to get into too many details, but if you on that earlier slide and 20% down and current interest rates offered in North America and 20-year mortgage, you're looking at somewhere in the $1,500 monthly mortgage range, and as it said on the slide, it's $2,400 or $2,500 roughly in monthly income. So it's an income earner and it's paying for itself. So like I said, I'm not much of a salesperson, but we'd love for people to reserve now, because there isn't much left. And so Roger and I talked about it a little bit and decided we could throw in a couple little enticers, sweeteners for why we'd like you to reserve within the next few weeks. One being, if you purchase a whole ownership condo, it would be a lifetime golf membership at the golf course. And if you purchase fractional ownership, we'd give you a corporate golf membership, which covers the period of the fractional ownership. We didn't get into the fractional ownership a lot, again, just for time, but you basically get 28 days or a month of ownership, and you share in the of the rental revenue time where the fractions aren't used. There's only 10 fractions sold in a 12-month year, so that leaves 2 months of revenue generation that you get to share in as well. And like I said, I'd be happy, or I or any one of the team members would be happy to share any information and answer any of your questions. A second bonus, which really only applies to this coming year, because the next year we expect the condominiums to be completed. But until they're completed, if you were to purchase now, we'll give you 10 complimentary night stays in the existing Las Perlas condominiums for this next year. And if it's a fractional ownership that you purchase, we'll give you 5 complimentary nights, which basically is, it's like having your place done already. You get a place to stay, and you get to check out what your future place is going to be like, and it'll going to be much more high-end than the existing Las Perlas, but the Las Perlas is a very nice condominium hotel as well. One last sweetener: if you do decide to purchase a condominium or a home site, we'll reimburse all your expenses of your travel down to come and take a look at it and diligence. So it's safe to make your reservation now, come down and see it, and we'll, if you decide, yep, that it is for me, like we expect you will, then we'll cover your hotel and everything involved when you're coming down to visit us. So how do you reserve? Well, we have a property package that we're happy to share with you if you haven't already seen it, and you can choose from available units or home sites, and we can work with you if it is a home site on a home you'd like to build. And you can put a refundable deposit down a few weeks, and that, like I said, the deposit is fully refundable, and until the next few months, we'll give you some time to come and see and decide and make a final decision. If for some reason you decide, no, it's not what I expected, or it's not for me, the deposit is fully refundable, but it gives you a chance to hold a spot on the condominiums or one of the home sites as well. And I didn't mention earlier, but we only have maybe a dozen or 15 home sites left for purchase as well in the current phase that's available. We'll make it very easy for you to come and visit. We'll show you around. If you haven't been to Nicaragua before, we can give you a tour of the close by colonial cities and lagoons and volcanoes and that, and obviously everything we have available at Milagro del Mar, and go have a round of golf or take surf lessons or whatever you'd like to do. Create a little webinar package just to give you an opportunity if you are interested in coming down. The prices there are $6.99 for a single, $5.99 per person for a double, which is heavily discounted. We include a lot of things in the little package. This is just a 5-day for a package for those people who don't really have a lot of time available to take a look, but we're more than happy to have you stay much longer or give you where else in the country you might want to stop and look around and that sort of thing. So we'd be happy to help you plan your vacation down and your coming to view us. This doesn't airfare, but it's because it depends on where you're flying from. I'm actually doing this from Vancouver Island right now on a boat. So I typically fly out of Seattle, and I just looked at it for the next flight down there. It was actually $403 return, which is certainly lower than usual. But I find from Vancouver or Calgary or Edmonton type of areas, you're probably in the $700 to $800 and something or $900 return flights. If I've missed anything, I haven't seen questions come in because I don't know if I'm just, or there haven't been any questions.
There haven't been any questions. I haven't seen any.
So either I bored you all to tears and you fell asleep, or I just did such a great job that there were no questions. I'm going to go with the latter.
Well, I mean, this is Roger again, everybody, and just let me say, as I said a few minutes ago, I have some of you on the list I've met and know, and I can't wait to see you all again. For some of you, I've heard that Fort McMurray was a great event for us, and we've had an incredible interest come out of Fort McMurray, and I thank all of you up there for that. And again, I just repeating what I said before. I hope to meet all of you. I want you to come down, see what we have, see why we fell in love with it, see why Patrick fell in love with it. Tammy fell in love with it because she's from here, so she has to be in love with it. But it's really a great place. I mean, from your perspective, a place to get away to during your time off, a place to get to this time of year in November and December and January when you're just craving that warm beach and a round of golf or some way to get out of the cold weather. It's really terrific for all of those reasons. And come down. Patrick was talking about reservations. We really don't push reservations because we hope that people will jump on a plane, come down, and fall in love with it, and make their decision here. If it's going to be a while before you can get here, okay, get with Patrick or with Joanne or with Tammy and nail down a reservation on something so you can hold a spot. But the real key, the real purpose of this call, this webinar, was to show you a little bit more about who we are, what we have, and hope that you'll make that decision to jump on a plane real quick and come down and be part of this here in the early stages while we've got a lot of great things going. And come down and grab hold of that now.
We have a question from Frank Molina.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that, but I can't see the question. Unfortunately, I can see that he has one. But
I'll unmute him. But the question from Frank is if there's a limit on the dates to travel.
Sorry, can you mute Frank again and just say the question because it caused a lot of audio problems?
Yeah, sure. His question is if there's a limit on the dates to travel with the webinar package.
Well, I think I said in there somewhere, between now and January, I mean, we'll work with you certainly on it, but we'd like to see you sooner rather than later. At some point, we're going to have no inventory left in our phase 1 offerings, and we'll be working on it too. But you know, Frank, if you're interested in coming down and you can't make it before end of January or whatever, then just let us know, and we're more than interested in working with you to get you down.
Yeah, just got to reply
Yeah,
back.
and we're Patrick, we're very flexible on that too. If I'm talking off the cuff here, but I would say probably through what you said, January 15th. If it's up until that time, there's no limit. I would think if you put down a reservation, I think we would honor that going up until really as long as you want to hold out the reservation. I think without a reservation, I would say probably through January 15th. Patrick, does that sound right?
Yeah, that sounds fair. I can see that there are questions, but I can't see what they are for some reason. So if there's any other ones, Tammy, that you feel
The other one is
answered,
from Joanne. She wanted to say hi to everyone.
that's not a question.
Not a question, but
That's
she
not a
asked if it
question.
was okay.
Do we want to let Joanne unmute and say it herself?
Joanne, you hear us? Oh,
I guess she doesn't want to that badly.
we also have another question from when is the nicest weather to visit?
Well,
I'll take that one.
sure.
I've lived here for 6 years. I will unequivocally say that late November, December, January, and February are absolutely the most fabulous months that you could. And if I had to narrow it down, I would say December and early January. Tammy, you're from here. You agree with that? I mean, to me, those are just fabulous months for weather.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with you.
I mean, the weather here is, I would say 10, 11 months out of the year, there's no place else I'd rather be. October gets a little bit funky because we get a lot of rain and humidity in October, but really 10, 11 months out of the year, the weather is great here. But if I had to pick my favorite 2 months, I would say December and January.
We also have another question from Donna.
Hang on a second. Can I just finish that thought there on the weather?
Yes.
Being Canadian and in my case living now on the West Coast, when we speak of rain and the rainy, I mean, to me the rainy season in Nicaragua is kind of May, June, July, August type of time frame, and like you said, but it's totally different. You get you know, on the West Coast of Canada, we get 3 weeks of drizzle and you never see the sun, and it's depressing. I actually like the rainy season in Nicaragua because, you know, it will rain at night and be refreshed, or rain for half an hour at noon, and then the afternoon is clear and beautiful again. And one of the nice things, unlike here, in our rainy season, it's cold. In Nicaragua, it's still warm. I mean, the temperatures are still in the 30s. You know, one of the main things that I liked about Nicaragua, other than, or as opposed to Mexico, when I used to go to Mexico, is the nights in Mexico were cold often, and you go out for dinner and you have to wear a big jacket because it would be in the, you know, mid-teens or sitting outdoors at dinner. In Nicaragua, I find that it's, you know, it's in the low 30s in the day, and it's in the, you know, low to mid 20s so you're comfortable in your t-shirt and jeans, or t-shirt and shorts, and having dinner outdoors. And I end up spending all my time outdoors when I'm there, and I don't really have a favorite time of year. Yeah, it's beautiful from November to April with almost rain. I kind of like the rainy season too. So sorry, I just wanted to throw that in to some of the Canadian people that, especially here on the West Coast, are thinking, okay, rainy season means something different than what it is in the tropics.
And can I add
that? Yeah, and I totally, go ahead, Tim.
No, that when I was visiting Canada, I know we went, what month did we go? September?
That was just last month, yeah.
Yeah, and I was freezing. I'm not used to that weather, so I love Nicaraguan warm. Had to buy.
Yeah, you had the biggest jacket on in September.
Exactly. We have another question.
We're spoiled here. Tammy, I'll finish that. I mean, we're spoiled here, and when we say, "Oh, it's the rainy season," I totally agree with that. It's the rainy season means you're going to get a thunderstorm every other day, and that's, keeps everything green and everything growing beautifully. But when we don't have days. I can't remember a day here in the 6 years I've been here when it was cloudy all day. It doesn't happen. So it's an incredible climate, and it's a semi-arid climate too. So it's not. It's sort of like Southern California, but warmer. You don't get. I don't feel the intense humidity here that I felt in the southern part of the United States, like in Georgia or Florida and those places.
Yeah, that's a good point, Roger, because people relate it more to the tropics to like a Florida type of feel, but it's dry. And to ask me about, what shots do I have to get coming down, and what about malaria? And I can honestly say, I mean, I'm there typically in the winter months, but I rarely ever see a mosquito, so I've never gotten a malaria shot. So it is arid where, especially where the resort is, you get even the picture that you're seeing out on the screen right now, pretty typical. It's just blue sky, and there's just not a lot of standing water and that sort of thing. So you're not getting that kind of mosquito population or insects in general. It's just not that many insects.
Hey Patrick, Sam wanted you to brought a little bit more on how you can fly to Nicaragua.
How you can fly?
No, how from what cities you fly from Canada?
Yeah, well, from Canada on the western side of our, like Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, I personally almost always go through either Houston or Miami or Fort Lauderdale, I guess. You also have the option of Atlanta, and for a while, I'm not sure if they're going to keep that going, but there was seasonal flights from Los Angeles, which were nice as well. And then through like Mexico City or San Salvador. But the easiest route for us is through Houston. So you have to stop, quick connections. Houston's a great airport for connecting. Like I said, it's almost like I went to Cancun last year for a little bit, and it was it took the same amount of time, I think. Actually, for us here, it takes about four and a bit hours to get to, and then under 3 from there to Nicaragua. It's around 2 from Miami. So it's very similar to flying if you were to fly from this area to Cancun. And the connections are all good. The customs is extremely easy to go through, and there's no real issues that way. You get a 3-month visa when you arrive, and it's a little piece of paper they stick in your passport. So if you want to stay longer than 3 months, you can the consulate or just maybe take a drive down to Costa Rica and drive back, and you get your visa redone again for 3 months. So it's very easy to travel. Like I said, the flights I've flown from as little as 200 return when they have seat sales. In fact, Spirit Air has them for $19 out of Florida sometimes. A little crazy, but they're the high end is probably around $900 return if you're going to fly from Edmonton or something like that.
Frank Molina would like to know if there's any special pricing for native Nicaraguans.
Hi, Frank. Well, you get a bottle of Flor de Caña with it.
And I'll throw in a couple of I'll throw in a couple of world-class cigars from Esteli, or from Esteli.
Frank says he has a couple.
I think we'll take the same approach as the government did with the land, that everybody's treated equal. So.
I've got to meet Frank.
Well, we only had a brief meeting in Fort McMurray, but I think Frank wants to come home.
Well, let's at least get him home for 2 or 3, 4 months a year. How's that?
Sounds good.
Any other questions, Tammy?
We
well, again,
Frank says, there got to be more questions.
Frank says he would love to come visit, though.
Well, we're going to make sure that happens for you, Frank. We're gonna, it's follow up with everybody that's been on the call after this, and well, not tonight, but in the next few days. So I just want to say one more time, thanks very much for being on, and hopefully you've seen something that intrigues you and makes you want to come down and visit us and check out what we have to offer. And if you have any family that might be interested as well, please point them in the direction of this webinar, which Tammy recorded, and we can replay, or you can replay on your machine or their machine. So we'll, again, one more time, thank you very much. Hope to see you down in our little piece of paradise soon.
Okay.
All right. Just control. So thanks everybody. That's it, and I appreciate you being on board.
Good night, everybody. Thanks, and we hope to see you down here in Nicaragua soon.
Good night.